Very good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar today. My name is Kath Smith, and we are going to talk about Herd Companion, making the best of your milk recording data. So welcome along if you haven't joined us before. I do a lot of webinars, but I haven't done one for a while actually, and I'm really pleased to see such interest for this time of year. So that's fantastic. So thank you for coming along. And if you're listening on the playback, that's fantastic as well. We always record these webinars, so you're able to watch them back at any time. Just a couple of housekeeping bits. If I go into my PowerPoint here, you will probably be very familiar with this by now, but we have got a control panel on the right hand side of your screen, so you're able to type in a question at any time. So feel free to do that as we go through, and I will come to those at the end. Alternatively, there is a little hand button, so you can actually, have I got a shot for that one? No. You can actually press the hand button again anytime, and I can come to you at the end as well. So I am talking right now. Hopefully you can all hear me loud and clear. I'll just check my control panel, make sure it's all fine. Nobody's shouting at me. Yeah, all good. So yeah, just check your computer audio is set, and we should be away. So let me come out of there, straight into Herd Companion. Now, this presentation today is aimed at sort of complete beginners really, but it will serve as a nice refresher for you as well. Herd Companion has been around now for quite a number of years, and its main purpose is the sort of front door to NMR, if you like. It's a portal full of information for your herd, or if you're a consultant third party, then you've got all of your client data on there as well to access anytime online, wherever you are basically. Once you've logged in, so if you're at that level and you haven't even got an account yet, do give us a call, and I'll put the number on at the end. You can then get registered really quickly using your email address, and then you can go straight in from there on in. I'm using the demo herd today, which is Hartpury University, so they let us use their data for purposes such as these. And this is our landing page. So when we come into the program, straight away we've got an advertising board. So currently looking at the annual production report, so you can go on in there further and see where your herd sits nationally and county-wide. So this one may change from time to time. And across here, we've got this thing called Payment Test Results, MQM. Now, MQM stands for Milk Quality Monitor, and this little graphic is all about your bulk milk. So nothing to do with milk recording at this stage. In fact, if you didn't milk record, you can still access this little piece of information, because this is coming straight from NML, from the payment testing laboratory, and it's the latest bulk milk result from there. So we've got a cell count of 165. Prior to that was 117, so that's your previous result, and it might have been even the day before. So if you're on everyday collection, these figures are going to change that regularly. We've got protein remaining the same, fat, and then a back to scan reading, and that's the little gold circle there, which does a nice little ping up and down as you come in. So that's currently set at 19 for this herd. Now, if I click on anywhere on that graphic there, straight away we're interactive. We've got some things to look at. This will open up further results looking back, so complete history. It's your filing cabinet of information, if you like, which will then, at any time you can just come in and see what was my bulk for February or whenever. Typical. I'm on go slow now, just as I was getting exciting. But this will load. There we go. So MQM results. So now we're into, yes, all of the tables of data. It's set to a year, so you've got your date range up here, but you can go further back if you've been with the same milk buyer consistently, and you've got all your results to view there. We also have a chart, so this will actually graph all of those results together, so you can look at things on top of one another in a sense. So you could compare your cell count to your back to scan, or protein to cell count, see if there's any particular correlations on that one. Now, throughout Herd Companion, you haven't got to follow this route, by the way. You can go to anywhere from anywhere, which makes it much more flexible, and you're able to concentrate on the reports of interest to you. So the Milk Quality Monitor results is a heading here, and then we've got related options as well. So the chart is the graph of those figures, a little bit of an explanation on there, and then a selective dry cow tool. Now that one will show you again, more of an overview. So some of this data you will see also. And there's just one little item I wanted to select from there. I go down to I've got a little screenshot here. So as well as the bulk milk stuff, then we're starting to draw in the milk recording information. So all collated on one quite nice list. So this one in here, just want to explain what this figure is. Maximum lactation cell count. Now I've highlighted the one under 150, under 200. So this graph shows you the proportion of the herd over the last year, also all completed lactations, whose cell counts have not gone above 200, 150, 120. So here we're looking at nearly half the herd staying below that 150 threshold. So real nice overview of an indicator. As suggested, selective dry cow therapy, we can then hone in on the detail later on, but gives you a flavour of the proportions that we're at in terms of, you know, general health of the herd maintaining below that level, which is really nice to see here. So the main menus across the top here, you can see as I move the mouse, I don't need to click anywhere. They're all what we call mega menus. So a bit like when you're shopping online, you can actually access you know, any particular report, and again jump around a bit. If I go into the latest recording, so this is under the iReports banner, you can see we've got all milk recording related items in here. And at any time, you know, if you want to go back to the start option, you can just click on the logo up here. That'll take us back a step. Or, you know, just go back on your browser if you were looking at a previous screen. The other thing to say for Herd Companion as well, it is online. It updates immediately that your recording is processed. So literally, and I've seen it happen, as soon as they close the herd in Harrogate, where all the herds are processed, they press that button, this is refreshed instantly. So this date here will change as soon as that herd is completed, so your recording data is good to go. And we have a text message facility as well, which will immediately alert you that your results are ready with the recording date. So if you're not set up for text messaging for that, for a Herd Companion, you know, again, give us a ring and we can set that up really quickly for you. So having just done a recording, let's say, we can come straight into here and check the date. Yep, it's all up to date and fresh, filtered by status milking as default. Now this is quite important because it is showing us in this table of data only the milking cows. So I can see that here, this is my status M for milking, and it's the only place really that has a filter already set in. So you can use this to great effect to filter out exactly which animals you want, whichever criteria you want to look at. So the idea here is that rather than focusing on the production monthly report on paper, where you've got a list of animals in line number order, you know, you might want to change it around a bit and look at them from a cell count order or from a fertility status grouping. So there's lots and lots of options in here. So at the bottom we can see there are 84 animals currently in milk, and we are split between pages. So I've only got down here page size 20. So this is a typical thing for, you know, a screen size. We've pretty much filled the screen right now. So if I wanted to, I could look at all 84 in a complete long list. There we go, and that list goes on down further. I can also take out that M, so I might want to see my dry cows as well. Now, as soon as you do something on here, it will refresh. There we go, we can see some dry cows now. So if I go right down to the bottom, I've got 161 animals, so that's my total herd. So don't be alarmed if you're thinking, where are half my cows gone? They're actually just filtered out. We've got an average for the herd for milk, fat, protein and cells here, for those that were present. So see the dry cows have got no sample there. And there are a couple of A cows. So an A is an absent for whatever reason. So sometimes they might be on antibiotics, they might be on the first 4 days of lactation, various reasons there, you know, we didn't get a sample. Those are just marked as A. Now if I go back up to the top, This is where we can start to play with the data a little bit. One thing to say as well, if this is all very new to you, please do click in places, have a look at the column structure, change things about, because when you log out or close your browser down for that day, everything will go back to its original state. So you cannot break anything on this site. Okay, you can't delete a cow, you can't change any data. It's all fairly bomb-proof in that regard. Saying that, there is a data entry tool as well, but I'll come on to that in a second. But for all of these lists, absolutely fine. Do have a play and see what you come up with. So firstly, we've got the filters, as we've seen. So I could just go back to milking cows here. I could put in a filter for cell count. So if I said 200, as soon as you stop typing, it thinks about what you've asked for it to do. And here I've got no data to display. Why is that? Because I've set a filter, cells equal to 200. So there are no cows dead on 200 for my current recording. I've got to use the key to the right of that one, and then I've got my choices. So it's very similar to Excel. If you're familiar, you've got your greater than, less than options. So if I specify is greater than, now we're talking, I've got some cows of interest that are over 200 at that recording. 10 animals in total. We've got a revised average for just those cows. We can see any cell count above 200 is shown in red. If it's above 500, we've got bold red. And that is a threshold. Now it's fixed mainly across the site, but there are certain pages where you can alter it as well. But this is one of them that's set to 200 on there. I can then expand that further and say, okay, so I've got my cows over 200, of which there are 10. I also want to know how many of them are over, let's say, 300 days in milk. Now again, that's equal to. Equal to is always our default. So let's expand that one. I'll go for greater than, there we go. And I've straight away, very quickly got a particular list of cows that I might want to draw attention to. From here, if this list you wanted to take out of the program or out of the site, sorry, you can export. So that will actually download it. There we go. Latest recording report, exactly as it looks now, is in my downloads folder as an Excel spreadsheet, and then I can do whatever I like to it there. I can also clear all the filters. So yeah, I've had enough playing with that one now. I want to put it back to my entire list of cows. There are also a few extra columns. So just, we've picked a default selection to fill your screen nicely, but do have a look on here in case there's a particular data item that you can't see. The other aspect is sorting. So we're in line number order at the moment. And if you click on a particular cow in blue, it will take you into her individual record. So that's how you access the individual cow data. We can sort by, might be calving date or any column at all. Just click on the header. And then you'll see the little arrow indicator that tells you this is the one that's sorted by in ascending order. So this is the oldest calving date. Click again, and then you're into descending. Okay, and we can use these filters as well to say greater than, less than, if you're looking for a particular set of cows. The third thing that you can do on all of these reports, so we're in latest recording, but this is not exclusive. So any column of data at all where you've got, typically the blue headings, sometimes they're in grey, but the functionality is exactly the same. So you can also do the sorting, the filtering we've seen, and the group by. Now here at the top of every table it says drag a column header here to group by that column. So literally we do that. If I were to look at, now I'll do calving day as well. If I literally pick up the header and then drag it up to the blue, it doesn't have to go in the corner, just anywhere across the blue area here, it groups your herd by whichever column you've chosen. So some work better than others, but logic would suggest that, yeah, for calving date, we want to put them into month of calving. So now we've got some really nice information, and so much quicker than trying to group them by paper. I know some of the paper reports we can list in calving date order, or we can list in line number order, but we can't do both together. So you can actually specify your report orders on here really nicely. So this tells us then an average for each of those groups. how many cows are in each group, what the group title is, and we can expand with the plus button to open that out. There we go. Okay, grouping by is also possible on multiple platforms. So if you wanted to group by calving date order and something else, I'll just grab that one as well. There we go. And now we've got, so the 44 that calved in July is now split between these lactation numbers here, and so on and so forth. So the possibilities are pretty much endless in terms of what you need to group your herd by. As I say, at the end of the session, if you were to just walk away from your herd companion, next time you log in, it will all be as though you never touched it at all. But if you wanted to, you could put your header back into the table. It doesn't matter where it goes either. So I'll just undo that, drag it back in, and then I'm back to my whole list again. Okay, so as I say, you can do that pretty much anywhere. Now, in the latest recording option, these similar reports, so there is lots in here. I'm not going to go through all of them today, but we've got things like milking persistency, so which cows have changed the most from the previous milking, previous recording, beg your pardon. Cell counts are here, and you can get to some of these reports in 2 or 3 places as well. So if you don't follow my route, absolutely fine. There's the cell count report. Now I went through the iReport somatic cell count. We also have production SCC report. That's exactly the same list. And in production, we've got a Swift cell checker, which is an older style list, but exactly the same information. Okay, so this one, and this is one of the places that people come to, straight away. We have a lower range of 200, so that's adjustable, which means the bottom of your report will only be cows, from 200 cells or upwards, and our high cell count threshold of 200. So I can alter that one here, which will then have an impact on the graph and on the individual cows at the bottom. So just to concentrate it on these ones for now, these are our 10 cows over 200. We saw them just now. So again, you can increase your page size, you can change your threshold at the top if you want all of your cows together. So not only do we have cell count for this recording, we've got it for the previous 3 as well. How many times we've been high, contribution to the bulk tank, that's quite interesting, isn't it? 23%, goodness me. And cell count type. Now these become really useful. If you're familiar with Herd Companion over many years, we did upgrade a lot of the site fairly recently just to bring it through from legacy systems, but we've kept some of the terminology. So chronic cows from this type, you know that she is high this month and last month. A repeat cow is high this month, 805, was low last month, 61, but she's had a high cell count previously in her lactation. A first cow, very first recording, and she's high, so she's come in at 329, 25 days in milk. And a new is high for the first time in her lactation, so she's been fine, for however long. So it could be, yeah, this one's quite stale, 298 days in milk, never had a problem until just now. So with those, we can also group by. I could drag that up there. There we go. So we can see, I don't know, it gives you the numbers there, but it certainly will list the cows. Or, and we're only looking at 10 cows, remember, at the moment, or we can actually just filter them out. So what I'll do, come back up here. Let's take this one out to 0. So this gives me the whole herd. Excuse me, everybody tested at that recording. There we are. So now my table is the 84 cows in milk. And I could use the filter. So for this one, let's see how many chronics we have. I'm just going to type the word in exactly. Just pause a second. There we go. So we've got 3 chronic cows currently, high this month, high last month. And then again, the blue writing for the line number, you can go on and investigate further as to what's happened with those cows. It looks a slightly different report, but the same options again. We've got a field chooser, some extra columns you might want to drag into your table, and an export style. Now this one you can put into Excel, or you could use a PDF file if you wanted to. There's a few different options on there. And the graph here just puts our sort of chronic and our cell count types into fragments on a pie chart, which is really easy to see then. So you can actually hide some out of the way. If we've got a bit of a block here, let's get rid of that one, get rid of our default, and then we can spread it out. Yeah, so that gives us our percentages in case they're all bundled in tightly together. Okay, so scrolling back up to the top. Now I wanted to show you the data entry. So this is an option available to anybody who records. If you have on-farm software, then you probably don't need to use this tool because you've got data going into your software every day. And we also have live links from our software into Herd Companion running on a daily basis, or manually if you choose. So this is best suited to people that are just milk recording, that don't have any on-farm software connected to NMR. So you can use this however frequently you like, and it also means you don't have to put your data onto the paper sheets that you might be using currently for your recorder to collect. So when the recorder comes to do your recording, all of your data potentially will be in here already and fully updated, good to go. So let me just show you this one. I'm not going to put anything in because it's a real live herd, so just bear that in mind. If you're logged in as you, it's live, so whatever you put in, could be therefore saved. However, don't panic if you do make a mistake on the data entry. We can always take things out again, so just give us a ring if there's anything that needs clarifying on there. Very easy to use here. So we have our cows, we know who your cows are, so they're all listed here, and heifers as well. We can pick an animal, we can choose the date something happened, and it doesn't have to be this week, this month, up to the last recording. It can be as far back as you like, as long as it's logical for that cow. You can also then choose an event. So I'll just stick with today. So I'm not going to save this one. Here's all the events that you could put in against an animal. So it's all the main NMR events that you normally record or you would write on the sheets in the diary. We've got calvings, heat, services with a sire, PD plus, PD minus, so either or. We've got a dry event. We can do mastitis. Let me show you that one with a quarter, or it could be multiple quarters. So you just tick all that apply. Same for lameness, and lameness we can actually identify types of lameness as well. We've got sick events, which includes quite a few options now. So all of these are recordable items. And we have a barren, so to set a cow of barren status, an end preg, which is usually associated with an abortion, a dead, why did she die? Reasons are on there as well, and sold. So just work your way through each individual cow. Once you're happy with the detail, add event. Now you'll see under here, number of events to confirm equals 0. So this number will change as you add events in. You don't have to stop and confirm each one. You can do a job lot at the end. But once you've finished your data entry, and you can also come back to it. So anything that you add, if I add 3 events today, haven't confirmed them yet, come back tomorrow, I can confirm the whole lot when I've finished tomorrow. So they will just sit there. But there is an event confirmation screen. So you have got to come into here, nothing to confirm at the minute, and it will show you exactly what events you're about to send through to Herd Companion. Once you're happy, accept all of those, and then straight away Herd Companion will refresh and load all the data in there immediately. So that will have an impact on any action lists that the cows are now updated to. Any third party receiving your data will get it there and then as well, depending on their data downloads to their software. So it's moving everything around in real time. Really changed how we do things at NMR. So that's available, as I say, anybody wants to use that. You don't need to ring us to start it off. You can just go straight in, data entry, and your recorder will know as well, because on Thor, the recorder's program, it will come up as a load of blue faces. So they will see that you've put data in, and they can move those on accordingly. So that's really good. Okay, the other key areas I did want to show you. Under the iReports, this is possibly the main area where you'll find most day-to-day items. So we've seen the latest recording. we've seen the cell count report, two of the most popular areas. In the middle here, we've got action lists. And I wanted to pick out one of these in particular, cows due to dry off. Now you have got due to calve, serve, PD, so all of the main action lists are here. But this one is particularly powerful. Okay, so again, just making the reference to the paper report pack that we've had traditionally for many, many years. Your cows to dry off list absolutely works a treat, but only based on the information that it's got. So when we're looking at the herd companion one, if data has been fed in from on-farm software, the likes of Uniform, Interherd Plus, that sort of thing, or you've entered data onto here straight off, then this report will be current as of right now. So really useful to use to decide, which cows are due to dry. Again, we've got some adjustable parameters. Due to dry in the next 30 days is our default. We can alter that for a longer or shorter period. Dry period length, now that looks blank. It's set to 56 days. Dry to calving, and again a cell count threshold, 200 being the high. Change that to whatever you like. So typical dry off report, we've got who we need to dry off and when. We've got the last recording, yield, and the last 3 cell counts. Again, some are highlighted in red over our threshold. How many times have we had a high cell count this lactation? Mastitis cases also included, so get those into us if you haven't already. How many days they are off to calving, and then we've got the yoni status on the end here as well, so really crucial information for drying off. Same structure, page size, we can look at all of them. There's only 35 on here, but I will expand that one. And then the same filtering mechanisms and sorting and so on. Now, to make use of this report really efficiently from a selective dichotherapy point of view, I can sort on number of highs. So now the top of our list are all the cows that have had no high cell counts throughout their whole lactation. And you can see some of these have been brilliant. 10, 11, 12, 13 tests, absolutely no bother at all. So we know, which way to go with these cows. Cell counts have all been low. It's a teat sealant only, type situation. I just add the caveat here that do consult your advisor, your veterinary surgeon on which dichotherapy to use. But here, it's a clear guidance to see what's suitable and what isn't. So those are a no-brainer, if you like. Then we get into more interesting territory. We've had the odd one high test here, 1 out of 12, 2 out of 11. So again, we're fairly safe on these cows, but we might need an extra bit of information to see, okay, did that one high test occur recently? Well, for this cow here, 473 in the last test, yes, it did. So she's suddenly crept up a little bit. Other ones, not so obvious. So 1 out of 12 tests, but the last 3, absolutely fine. Now what I can do here, just to enhance that info, is go into the show extra columns. You get this funny little refresh. There we go. So this is our column chooser. These are the additional columns of data we can add into the table. And I want to bring in this one, days since high. So it's just a grab and drag, let go, pop it into your table any way you like. Close that one. Not much to see here because these are all zeros. Now we get down to the sort of borderline cows. I mean, there's nothing much bad with these anyway, but it just shows you for the cows that had maybe 1 high test or 2, how many days ago, so that's this column here, how long ago were these high tests? Well, 307 days ago, 69 days ago. So with that info, you're fully armed to discuss with your vet, the best course of action for these sort of one-off blip cows, if you like. Really, really useful report there. And again, same sort of idea, you can export, if you want to print out any of these reports, incidentally, you can as well. Now there's no obvious print button, but I've got my control panel in the way. Let me just pop that down there. I'm using Chrome. So Edge works in exactly the same way. If I go to my 3 dotted button in the top right corner, I've got a print option here. So that will print quite a nice format actually, exactly as you see on screen. And you get a print preview as well, just to check what you're about to do. So That's hopefully a handy hint for you. Okay, back on the iReports menu, just another couple and then I'm nearly done actually. Farm assurance here. So not only have we got day-to-day info, we've got a collection of information. You're diligently telling NMR everything that's happening to your cows. And at the end of the day, farm assurance comes knocking and say, right, I need to know how many mastitis cases have you had in the last year? Why have your cows gone? What's the reasons for their culling? And so on and so forth. So we want to make your life easier. We've collated all of those bits of information together here. All you've got to do is go to this little print icon here. It won't try and print straight away, but just opens up a new window. And we've then got all of those bits of information brought together. So this is the last year up to the last recording date. You can tweak your date range, absolutely, that's fine. Lameness cases, so both totals and percentages over 100 cows, reasons for culling. There might be some gaps in the data, just depends, what's been recorded in that time. So talk to your recorder if there's any bits that we need to catch up on. We've also then got some stats at the bottom collated from your data. So if we've got services and PDs, we can work out conception rate, days to first serve. It's all in one handy A4 sheet, and you can actually save that out of the program again, onto to a hard drive somewhere to use or print out straight away. So that's the farm assurance, and in with that menu we've got lameness cases, so all the individual cows listed over the last year or longer, and mastitis cases as well, which quarters have been affected. Okay, final area for today. There is lots more, by the way, but these are the sort of the key ones I wanted to show you directly from your milk recording data. Now we have disease monitor up here, and I wanted to show you the Yonis. So HerdWise is our main Yonis service where we're testing the whole herd 4 times a year. Your results are only available on Herd Companion, so a lot of people do come straight into here in any case to access these, but I hope this has shown you some other bits and pieces that might be really useful to look at while you're browsing. So HerdWise is our main one. Herd Tracker, you might be on that scheme, which is your 30 cow screen. And then we've got a new one, Yonis 123, which is more flexible service, so you can test 1, 2, or 3 times a year. So this herd is on HerdWise. If I go into this one, and I was looking at this earlier, and I thought, goodness me, aren't Hartpury doing really well? We've got all Yonis 0 cows currently. Well, bar one animal, I think, but that's possibly gone already. So a couple of things. We've got the historical data, so a really nice graph to see trend over time. So we can see when we started testing for Yonis, what the trend for the herd has been over time. So a bit of a peak round about there, 2015. Things have been managed really well, whittled down to practically, no Yonis in the herd currently. This graph, this pie chart, is very similar to the one we saw with the cell count, similar sort of idea. So where we've got a big mass of data together here, tiny little numbers, I can just get rid of that one. Nothing on a J4. And then you see J3, nothing. So there really isn't a lot to see. Let's get rid of the zeros. There we go. So there's one animal at J2. And that's pretty much your lot on there. Now, moving down, last test date. So back in March, we had 1 red and 1 amber and 172 J0s. You might see in the herd details, so these are the actual cows and their results as of now, there could be a difference between what you're seeing up here, 1 red, which is a J5, it's not listed here, and that's because she has since left the herd. So that test date was back in March. Our last recording was July, that cow's gone. So that's why she's not showing in the bottom table. So I was really impressed to see all of this data here. If I filter on a J5, I won't find her. She has actually gone. So that's the only thing on Her Companion at the moment. We don't have any dead sold cows. That said, on the herd wise, on the yoni side, if I go back up to the top, you do have historic data up here. So if you're looking for a sold animal that you know was yonis tested, you will find it on that table. That will go back, to when you started testing for yonis. There's an extra one here, cohort monitor, which is enabled for third parties, for vets and consultants. So farmers, you may not see that. Talk to your vet or your consultant. For those, it's grouping cows together, different cohorts. Herd summary is the older star reports that you can print out, and your high risk cows as well. But this table pretty much tells you all you need to know. We've got our latest test results here. And you can see, yeah, overall, fantastic job on yonis on this one. Again, export if you need to print it off or whatever, you can download it onto there. Now with the herd wise, I go back up to my disease monitor, we also have a progress tracker which does a bit of benchmarking and looks at how we've progressed over time, how persistent we've been with our J5s in terms of, over the last few years. And we've got some color coding on here, very straightforward, pink, orange, dark green, light green, for all of these different elements of what's been happening. So those color blocks relate to other yonis herds. So are you in the top 25%, which would be the dark green, or the bottom 25%, which would be the dark red? And there's explanation notes on how those are calculated. So if I go down to here, this gives me a really nice yearly summary. Since they started yonis testing, how have we improved? You can see the numbers themselves anyway, so average test values have come right down. How many J5s? Are pretty much nil now. J4% P1, so P1 is parity 1, and if you hover the mouse over, it will tell you. So those lactation 1 cows coming in, are we bringing in more J4s as a result, or more infecting cows? A little bit of a problem back in the day, but now, no, absolutely not. There's nothing coming in as a positive, so we're managing the yonis really well. What proportion of the positives have we got under 30, 60, and 100? So those figures have all gone, red, orange, green. And then some of these at the end, looking at relative risk. So again, if you hover the mouse over the heading, it just tells you what is the likelihood of a J5 cow being served or calving in or actually leaving. So leaving, we want a higher number, and calving and serve, we want a lower number. So it's a real success story here that things are moving in the right direction. And on that note, Hartpury is our demo herd, as I said right at the beginning. So if you do want to have a look at their data as well as yours, you can just log into herdcompanion.co.uk and click on demo herd at the top before you log in as yourself. And then you'll see exactly all of this data, so that you can have a good play with. Again, you can tweak all the tables without doing any damage. The data entry is actually grayed out, so you won't be able to put data in anyway. But it might be nice just to see how another herd does certain things. Lovely. Well, that's all I wanted to say today, but I hope you found that useful, and I'd be very happy to answer any questions. I might actually do a part 2 in a month or so, because we have got quite a few other bits to show you. There's things like KPIs on here, a few sort of herd stats. We've got some lovely genomic data as well, with or without genomic testing. So there's quite a lot more on here. I'm not getting any questions, so do, if you're frantically typing, keep going, it will pop up to me very soon. Or if you want to raise your hand, that's absolutely fine, and I can open up the phone line if you want to ask it directly. But no, we're all good by the looks of things. Okay, well, I'll just give you another moment to finish that off. But, oh, here we go. We've got one in. Wonderful. Okay, thank you very much. Is there a way to see how many cows are due to be dry? Oh, hang on, let's expand my screen. And due to be in milk in forthcoming months? Yes, there is, i.e. to predict winter housing space, etc. Absolutely correct. Yeah. So if I go back to, put my question pane down there, right, cows to dry. So same for cows due to calve, works in exactly the same way. So at the moment I've got 30 days. I can go, as you can see, I've been playing with this before. I could go however far I like ahead, really. But yeah, 200 days. Oh, maybe not that many days. 200. Apply. Now for this herd, I know they're block calving, so there may not be that many more, but there we go. So that increases my selection to 40 in the next 200 days. Or if we were to look at the cows due to calve, so this one you could go even further because, you know, as soon as they're in calf, we've got a due date. So you could say who's due to calve in that window. And then again, that will refresh and give you, you know, a fair chunk to work ahead. You can also, you know, use your group by. So if I do, not that one, due to calve, if I group by that, there we go. That gives us there's our calving block here, but you can certainly see how many animals fall into each window, you know, from a planning perspective. Okay, I hope that answers that one. And same for, you know, due to serve, due to PD, actually. So they all work in a very similar way. You're very welcome. Right, next question. Thank you. How do you change a cow's line number? Can't do it on Herd Companion, I'm afraid. So let your recorder know at the next recording what the cow number is going to be. We do have this an awful lot, particularly with heifers, where they are born as, you know, last 4 digits of its ear tag potentially, and then they want to be changed to a 3-digit line number or something else. So yeah, it happens an awful lot, but your recorder can do that absolutely. Or if it's urgent, you can give customer services a ring and the office processing team can change that for you as well. So that again would have an instant effect on Herd Companion if you need it changing. And same for any other data items really. If there's anything you spot that's not right, or, you know, we've got a sire missing or something like that, we can absolutely make these things right. So do give us a ring. We'd be happy to hear from you. Okay, any more for any more? No, okay, that's brilliant. Right, if you are frantically typing, don't panic. I will do a last minute check in a second, but just to finish off here, I'll just leave it on screen. There we go. So this is our number. If you have any feedback, I'll be absolutely delighted to hear from you, or any suggestions for future webinars. As I say, I think I've got enough merit for a part 2 for the next in-depth items. So I'd love to cover this again. And yeah, follow me on Twitter as well. We're always tweeting about different bits and pieces on Herd Companion. You're very welcome. Thank you all very much for listening and have a good day. Bye for now.